I was new and I had an office down the hall, but every time I would sort of walk by, Dan would be like busily in his office on the computer, looking at documents and analyzing something. But anytime I'd come in and knock on the door or we'd have a meeting, it was like this calm teacher Dan who sort of emerged and would explain things, be incredibly thorough.
Oh my goodness, Dan Bruner has been an integral part of the legal services program at Whitman-Walker since he started volunteering with us in 1990 and then joined as a senior litigator in 1995. I think Dan's touch on what this country has accomplished in regards to dismantling HIV and AIDS ignorance and discrimination is absolutely remarkable.
He helped to prop up the policy program and then the institute within Whitman-Walker, within this 3-4 decades worth of service. And the shaping of that, as I say it and try not to get teary, I don't know how you put that into words.
To fight inequality, it takes everything that all of us have to offer, and Dan has really put his all out there.
When I think of Dan and having a 27-year career at this organization, I think of something that happens when individuals in the private sector leave to join the public sector to make a greater impact. And when I think about the efforts of Dan Bruner to ensure that our organization, Whitman-Walker, and the people that we represent, namely the LGBT community, is ensuring that we are at those particular tables to craft, influence, and design policy at both the local and national level, that simply means that there's been a measurable impact of thousands of people that Dan Bruner doesn't even know that he has impacted. There can be no greater legacy.
So much of what we do in terms of ending the epidemic and the research that we're doing, the federal policy work, the city policy work, so much of that draws on the thinking that he has pioneered during his time at Whitman-Walker.
I mean, I think Dan, I've been in this town lawyering for 35 years, and I think Dan is the best lawyer I've ever worked with.
Dan is probably one of the most knowledgeable people that I've ever met in the area of discrimination law.
I remember in 2015 and 2016, when I first started talking to Dan about dreaming, and I remember the first conversation, we were sitting in the second floor space at the Elizabeth Taylor Medical Center, now Liz. I remember him sitting around the table with me, and I said, Dan, we spend so much time, responding and reacting to stuff. Tell me a little bit about what you dream about. And at that time, he and I shared the concept of, what happens, if Whitman-Walker were to establish a research, education, and policy organization. I remember it was a marked switch in his personality. He looked like he lightened by about 10 years. He smiled in ways I hadn't seen him smile. And then my next 3 meetings with him, he had more ideas about the Institute than we could contain.
One of my favorite stories about Dan is just going to his house for his Christmas party and getting to meet his husband, Tim, and see the care and the beauty that they have surrounded themselves with and that they bring to everything in their lives. I work with Dan and I see the care that he brings to his work, and then to go to his house and see the beautiful renovations that he and Tim have worked on in their own home, to hear the music that Dan plays that he works on tirelessly, it really sort of showed me that this isn't just that the way that Dan works is just a reflection of the way that Dan is.
Dan plays woodwind instruments, and of course these would be the more esoteric variety. No Fender electric guitar for Dan, though I bet you he could play like a mean Ted Nugent riff if you wanted.
It's very specific. It requires a lot of practice. And those are things that Dan does at work every day. So it makes sense to me that he would be a talented musician on the side.
It's so amazing to know that about Dan, that he has that creativity through music, because you see it in the creativity of his thought and his intellect and how he works through, complicated policy matters. So he's got creativity in spades.
He loves the recorder. It's a really big deal. The flute. I'm sure there's many other instruments out there. He could probably pick up wind instruments and just toot away.
When I think of all that Dan has accomplished, one word that comes to mind is tapestry. because literally every piece of the work that we do as an organization at Whitman-Walker has a thread of Dan's work woven through it.
I think of the word life-changing, if that's one word. I think he's changed the lives of so many people.
Colossal. I mean, he's saved thousands of lives. Dan's advocacy on behalf of people living with HIV and LGBTQ people to incorporate the legal protections in the Constitution and in the laws to encompass us as well has dramatically improved people's lives in thousands and millions of concrete ways.
The one word that comes to mind when I think of Dan is humanity. Dan is the soul of humanity at its finest.
Slyly funny. You don't know he's funny right away. It takes a little while to find out that Dan is funny, but he's really funny.
He has really prioritized making it possible for the people that he works with to do their best. And you can really see his handprint on the lives of so many people and the work that they do and the way that they do their work.
I personally am grateful to Dan because he hired me in 2008, and I'm here 14 years later, and this has been a life-changing career for me.
One of my favorite things about Dan was how generous he was with his knowledge, and I learned so much the years I worked with Dan.
Dan was, I guess you could call, my first supervisor at Whitman-Walker, and it was amazing. I, to this day, so cherish Dan, not only his brilliance and his intellect, but his kindness and his just willing to be there and to be present.
Dedicated, smart, devoted, kind, thoughtful, everything that we know Dan to be, you see that immediately when you start working with him.
One of my favorite memories of Dan was Halloween at Whitman-Walker, when for someone who can come across to those who don't know him as very serious, Dan knows how to have fun.
He also had an immaculate office back in the day with the best plants. They were always so thriving and healthy.
When he would get momentarily furious with some typical annoyance at the office, like a fax machine jamming or an ancient copy machine breaking down, and he would just let loose with a fantastic string of curse words. Coming from Dan, he had such a kind face, a face that never seemed to age. He had this wisdom garnered through years of meditation and careful living, but these geyser eruptions of the most profane swear words would make me smile so hard that, I thought my face would crack.
Oh my gosh, what should Dan do next? Dan should just relax and enjoy life without any one of us calling on him for all that we need him for.
Dan, I wish you the best retirement ever. You deserve it.
I do hope that Dan spends more time focusing on his passions, on his interests, traveling with his husband, and seeing the world, learning maybe a new instrument. But I definitely don't believe that Dan is truly retiring. That'll never happen.
If he is really bored, we're looking for a couple of attorneys at my law firm for some young associates, and he would be welcome.
But a thing that I really hope that Dan does in this phase in his life is take a pause to acknowledge all of the important work that he's done, all of the people's lives that he's impacted.
Get that house finished, so that he can enjoy it, and invite us all out to Rehoboth for a cookout. That's what I think Dan should do next, invite us all out to Rehoboth for a cookout.
Thank you, Dan, for all the opportunities that you gave me over the years and for all you contributed to Whitman-Walker over the past 3 decades. I'm a fan of Dan.
I'm a fan of Dan the man.
I am a fan of Dan.
I'm 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 a really big fan of Dan.
I'm a huge Dan fan.
I'm a Dan fan!
I am a fan of Dan.
Hi, I'm a huge fan of Dan.
I'm a fan of Dan.
I'm a fan of Dan.
I'm a fan of Dan. I'm a huge Dan fan.
I'm a fan of Dan.
I am Dan's #1 fan.
We love you, Dan!
I'm a fan of Dan, and I would sing this song if I had time to write it. But you're the best, Dan.